There is my friend Mary Leone right there. And Mark Palmer is with us as well. Guys, we all three have been recruiters for a long time. Now, the advantage I think is that we have been not only recruiters, but we've been recruitment leadership, especially Mary and I. And I'm not saying that we're old and we've been at this thing for so long, but we have. We've been at it a number of years at Fortune 500 companies. There's Mark Palmer. I almost said good morning, Mark. Good afternoon, Mark.
Well, good morning out there on the beach.
Exactly. Yeah, can you hear my waves crashing?
Uh, Not
Anyway,
yet.
it's not that good yet. But I was doing an attempt to introduce us all. And we have been, guys, on the full cycle recruiting, if you will, side of things. Also, guys, a number of, well, Mark and I for sure, and probably Mary as well, have worked in a third party recruiting situation. We'll kind of talk about that. Everything that we are going to go over today is probably going to be, as Pam talked about, our topic being the one thing, probably the most important thing that we want to take into consideration is that we're going to be building relationships as we go. While we are in job search, we have an opportunity to build relationships. And speaking of relationships, there's my friend Katherine McCall down there. And I'm going to call on all three. There's Katherine. There she is right there. Katherine is in Port St. Lucie, Florida. She's a little bit closer, probably, to most people on this call than we are here in Dallas, Fort Worth. But if you guys don't mind, I will start with Katherine. Just tell us a little bit about you, Katherine, so that my introduction to you won't fall short. Unmute yourself there, or
there we go. Now it
there you go.
So first of all, thank you so very much for having me, Foster, and everyone else. And I'm Katherine McCord, as he said. I work managing my company, Titan Management, which we do recruiting and employee relations consulting. We also just launched the first ever applicant tracking system that not only masks candidates to stop all bias, but also has a DEI accountability feature, so diversity, equity, inclusion accountability feature, as well as a candidate experience accountability feature. And then I also run a show called Career Launch Live that's on every Wednesdays before the Who You Know job networking show, which Foster is on. So that's me. That's what I do. And I do recruit all different types of positions for my clients.
And have done so for years.
Years and years. Actually, you know what? Titan is having our 7-year birthday on May 1st.
Oh, May 1st, huh?
Yeah, 7-year birthday.
All right. Well, let's hear from Mary Leone. We're going to get to you, Mark. You know, we got to follow up the pack. You know.
You got it.
Hey, Foster. Hey, Katherine. Hey, Mark. It's nice to see everybody. And I am very excited to be here as well. Foster, I wish I were on the beach with you, but this is a second best place to be, right? On a Monday afternoon. So I am a talent acquisition leader. I've led large organizations at mostly big companies, from Verizon, which is where I know Foster from, yep. Gold Living, so in healthcare at Texas Instruments, other places. And so I just love recruiting, especially diversity recruiting. I specialize in transitioning veterans, military spouses, and people with disabilities, but I like all types of diversities. I recently started a company at the end of 2020 where it's called Diversity Outreach Partners, and it's a business-to-business model helping companies with their diversity outreach if they have gaps in females, in people of color, veterans, or people with disabilities. We can help them with that. But I get a lot of referrals from Foster, and I do a lot of one-on-one transition mentoring of people with disabilities, military veterans, as well as military spouses. So I'm happy to be here and share whatever knowledge Foster wants me to share. It's good to see all of you.
Good to have you, Mary. Good to have you with us as always. And guys, Mary specializes in diversity. Of course, she told you about spouses and you know, things from military and helping people transition and things like that. But with our recruiting experience, we feel as though we can make those connections along the way. All right, Mark Palmer.
All right, I'm Mark Palmer, have over 20 years experience in recruiting. I've recruited in corporate recruiting, agency recruiting, and contract recruiting as well. Actually, I know you from some of the agency recruiting. Recruit all levels, entry level all the way up to C-suite levels. And most recently worked at Dobson Clearing Corporation, full cycle recruiting. So I have a chance to cover all three of those, as mentioned, agency, corporate, and contract.
Tremendous, tremendous, guys. When we mention this is recruiter talk, and I'm going to bring you in on a little bit of that. When we talk about full life cycle recruiting, we are at the point that we're talking about that. We're talking about being a recruiter at the company. We are the recruiter for the company at the company, and third party recruiting, agency, that sort of thing, guys, are companies that have that word. My favorite word in job search is relationship. And they have a relationship with the company. We're going to be examining what that relationship is through some of the questions that I'm about to launch with as I ask my panel of experts. But a lot of times, guys, companies don't have recruiters of their own. And so they reach out to a company for what we call an RPO, a recruiting process outsourcing. So basically, they're outsourcing their recruiting function to a certain company, to a Mary Leone or someone they have a relationship with. They have a lot of trust in that person. So first question I like to throw, and you guys jump in here as we have this conversation. You guys jump in with these questions, because these folks that I have with me are tremendous. They've been, well, as you heard, they've been at it for a long time. Me, myself, I'll do a brief introduction. I'm Foster Williams. I'm the founder of the Career Search Network. The Career Search Network is in about 20 states now. I have been a recruiter a whole lot longer than I want to tell you guys that I've been a recruiter. But see, guys, they laughing at me. We are family, guys. The Career Search Network acts as a family. We help each other. We encourage each other. When you get a job, pay it forward. Paying it forward, it's got a lot of different definitions, you know, helping other job seekers understand your company. Maybe you have an opening at your company that you are the hiring manager for. Maybe you have an opening at the company that somebody you work for, obviously, in your company needs help with. We offer that type of insider trading kind of thing. This is what has made this network the size that it is. Just here in Dallas-Fort Worth, we are over 200,000 active job seekers in the network. A number of people that are listening to my sound of my voice right now are Career Search Network members. You guys probably have heard this time and time again. You're probably rolling your eyes in your head. Oh my God, there's Foster. But guys, I want to throw this question out as we're moving forward. Sometimes we will get a call from multiple third-party companies, agencies, if you want to call them that, staffing companies. How in the world do we know which one to go with? Catherine's laughing.
Oh.
Catherine, jump in on that. You and I on Career Launch have tackled this one. Yeah.
You know that's one of my favorites, because there are so many shady companies. There's so many companies out there that don't bother to really get to their clients. They don't work with exclusivity. So the first thing that you want to find out is, does that recruiter have exclusivity to the role? What that means is that they definitely have a strong working relationship with that company. And it doesn't mean that they're the only company that ever recruits for them. It's for the hiring company. It just means that they're the only ones working that role, which means they have a strong relationship. Otherwise, it's just a throw it and see what sticks kind of situation. And you don't want that. So ask about exclusivity. And then also, when you're talking to the recruiter, make sure that the first things out of their mouth are talking about you and what's going on with you. If they're not doing that, if they're just, when can you start? What pay are you looking for? Blah, 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 blah. Just right off the bat, just drilling you, back off and just keep on keeping on, because that person has not been trained. I highly doubt they really know what they're doing. And it's probably just going to be more of a frustrating experience than anything else.
Absolutely, it will be frustrating. Mary or Mark, you guys have any input on that one? You don't have to. Catherine did such a good job with that.
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Just similar, there are some of those companies too that won't even give you a call. They'll just send an email with the job description and asking you to approve them submitting your resume. If that's the case, do not go with them.
No.
And I've seen a lot of that lately over the last few months.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's normal. Of course, it's normal to send an email initially to like introduce themselves and to request a call, but he's absolutely right. They should be requesting a phone call 100%. Unless they already know.
Yeah, and I would also say, because I've received some of these emails before where somebody is trying to target you, but you have no idea who the company is that they're working with.
Mhm.
And that's kind of scary because you don't know, you want to present in the best way possible. And so you want to be able to share what makes sense. And so if you don't know anything about it, if they're asking for all that information, like Katherine was saying, that's not right. And so you need to be wary about that as well.
100%.
They're kind of going on a fishing expedition.
And it is normal, guys, just real quick, it is normal for a recruiter to hide their client name until they speak to you. That's to make sure that they get credit for the hire and that you do go through them. But as soon as they get you on the phone, the first thing out of their mouth should be telling you about that client, including compensation, putting that out there.
Right.
One thing that I know, to dig in a little bit further on what you're saying, Catherine, well, all three of you guys, when a company calls you, determine what that there's that word again. Determine what that relationship is with that client. So, Foster, what are you talking about? Ask that company, how long have you been? Very probing questions, guys. Don't feel timid to ask those very probing questions. How long have you been working with this company? How did you come about working with this company? Is it an exclusivity? That's one of Catherine's big words. It's hard for me to
Yes,
pronounce all that.
exclusivity, very important.
Exclusivity, yeah. In other words, guys, are they working with you and you only? What type of arrangement is it? Do you have a contingency agreement with the company? Do you have a retained a search going on? And that retained search means that the company paid you some money up front to do the search. And you more and likely, if a company tells you they have a retained, it's going to be an exclusive type of situation, at least initially. We companies go through a lot of things, and sometimes we can't get the traction that we want. And sometimes rash decisions are made at the C level to bring in other companies involved. And you know, because we got to get where we got to get real quick, as fast as we can get there. Right now, guys, I am noticing in my 100,000-foot view of job search, a lot of companies, most companies actually, are figuring out ways that they can snap back from the slowdown that we all engage with COVID. Companies are not willing to sit up and let their ability to take care of their families and the other people that are working with. A lot of the leaders just let that go because of fear. There are a lot of questions that aren't answered right now, but companies are finding out ways that they can do this type of thing. Maybe some of those companies, a lot of companies that I talk to, have never had remote employees before, so they have to get used to that. How do you manage these remote employees? There's a number of different ways that companies employ in order to try to figure out how they're going to manage this workforce that is remote. Some companies have 60, 70, 80% of their employees remote right now. And it's different for us too on our side of the fence, guys. We may have never been a remote employee before, so how we're managed and all of that sort of thing takes a lot of things into consideration. Right now, there's some interesting numbers and interesting facts on the thought process of people that have been remote and got used to it and now are being asked to go back to the office. So there's a lot of things to consider, guys, as we go along. Thank you guys for so much for those answers. Another thing, here's another question that I have for you guys as we move forward through job process. When we are in the interview stage, company has decided that, hey, I like the way Mark Palmer's resume looks and I want to talk to him. Another thing, guys, a lot of interviewing is being done just the way that we're talking right now on Zoom, right? Those are
Mhm.
changes. Guys, is there anything that you would say be wary of on this video interview, since we're not in person anymore? Is there any tips or anything that you guys would think would be important?
This is Mary. I'm going to jump in first. One of the things I would say is it can be harder to build rapport. So I would say do whatever kind of research you can ahead of time, people that you're interviewing with and the company, to make sure that they know that you're serious and that you're really interested, and know something about them so that you can make that personal connection. And again, that's using your R word, that's building the relationship. But it's
Exactly.
going to be much better, if I look up somebody and they're from the University of Minnesota where I did my undergrad, I'm going to
Oh,
bring that up. I'm going to say something funny about being a Golden
Mhm.
Gopher. It's nice to meet another Golden Gopher. I don't see many of those in Dallas, Texas. But again, that builds that rapport instantly, and continue to try to build that. So they know that you're interested. They know that you're excited about it, and try to build that connection. Because again, over a screen, it can be a little bit tough. So that's one of the things I would say.
Let's
absolutely.
say too, be prepared beforehand, make sure your technology is set up correctly, the angles are correct, lighting is decent. That way you're not stuck with technology problems due to the starting time of the interview. So make sure that's all in place.
100%. And I will also add to that, because I know someone who something very funny happened to. Don't do the I'm dressed from here, from the waist up scenario.
no.
Professionally, go ahead and be professionally dressed your whole body, because I personally know someone who thought, I can't find the right pants. It's time to hop on. I'm just going to do it in my boxers and my work top. And guess what happened? The camera
Oh,
fell.
yeah.
Oh,
It
shoot.
happened. Like
Yeah, I've heard
the
about
laptop, the
that.
desktop bumped, the laptop moved, and there
Shoot.
you go. So be very careful and be dressed.
So one
Absolutely.
of the other things that I experienced, Catherine, to your point in terms of funny or kind of bloopers, is I actually had two candidates that I was interviewing, and they had their cats walking back.
Ah,
Seriously, they hadn't
yep,
locked them
Yeah.
out of the
I've
room.
seen
And
that.
it's not saying that I'm not necessarily a cat person, but it's more of a distraction. And the fact that you have a cat walking right in front of your screen, it was kind of strange.
It,
So I would
it's
say be mindful of that, and then mindful of, other noises that you can control. I know sometimes you can't, but the
Yeah.
things you can control those.
Yeah, do your best, folks, especially with children. Do your best, because you never know with little tiny kids, right? What they're going to do. They're just going to like randomly make a noise, right? So make sure they're not in the room. If you can, have them not home at all, or in a completely different part of the house, being watched by someone. And if anything happens, and and just there's something in the background, go ahead and acknowledge it. Don't pretend it's not going on.
Right.
Apologize. It happens. We all understand, but do acknowledge it and apologize and try your best. She's absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Also, too, make sure that there aren't items behind you that are controversial, such as books, pictures, posters, maybe political or otherwise. It can be controversial. You want to avoid that.
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah. Guys, well, we're talking about relationship thing. Thank you, Mary, for using my word. But remember, guys, when you are blessed enough to have an interview, see where you can connect. That word connectivity
Mhm.
is very, very important, because everybody that is listening to me now, are part of a big network. And you know what? Let those recruiters know. Make sure before you leave the interview, if it is one of those jobs that you're super duper 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 excited about, make sure that you ask for that job. But
Mhm.
before you exit that interview, let Katherine McCord know. Hey, I'm just using Katherine as a she's my throw her under the bus lady. And if Katherine is interviewing you guys, ask Katherine how you can help her. Be Form a relationship with Katherine, one which she will remember you. Hey, you're part of a large network, Katherine. Are there some priority things that you're looking for right now that would do you good outside of what we're looking at right now? Because you know what? If the job is not for you, that is okay. That's fine. We have a wonderful Lord that takes care of all of where we need to be. But Catherine's a recruiter and she has touch with a number of openings, whether she's a full life cycle recruiter working for one company, there are multiple departments maybe in her large or middle-sized company. You would want to offer to help Catherine if you can, because that'll get in her brain and she'll remember you
Yep.
maybe for other things. I know Catherine is that type of person. Each and every one of the people on this panel were chosen because of their personality, because of their giving ways. And Catherine has me on some of her shows, and I have her on some of my radio shows and all this stuff.
Mhm.
And so that is where that relationship developed. And the first thing I did with Catherine was try to connect with Catherine, find out where she is, what's going on. And I think the first thing I tried to do was introduce you to my old boss that
Yep.
lives in Port St. Lucie,
Yep.
Florida.
You did. You did.
Yeah. So, guys, how can we connect? And it matters. We have so much technology now that a
Mhm.
lot of times the connectivity involvement gets kind of lost, you know?
Yeah.
We want to keep that going because we are just people and everybody wants to connect and have a relationship where they can. There's some people that either they got too much going on that day or whatever that they don't have time to connect. That's okay. Maybe your path will cross later on. But if you offer to help that person, that will be remembered.
Yes.
That absolutely will be remembered. So, guys, and in that interview, while we're on the interview topic, do not forget to ask what is the next step. Ask if that position is the right one for you. Ask for it. We
Yep.
have not, for we ask not. And so, you know what? Foster's going to ask if I'm excited about that position. I want to know what's going on. I don't want to get off that call. I want to know what to expect. Mr. Recruiter, Miss Catherine, when is a good time that I can call you back? I really like this position. Show
Mhm.
them your teeth, smile, and project that project that you're feeling the way that you're feeling about that opportunity. But ask Catherine, Catherine, what's the next step? What would be fair for me to assess? When can I call you back? Or do I need to call you back? Am I that person that we're going to hire right now? You know, you guys will be surprised how many times that happens.
It
So
does.
go ahead,
Mhm.
Catherine.
No, I'll just say it does. It
Oh, yeah.
100%. It happens a lot. I see that all the time, and companies get so excited about somebody. I can't tell you how often I have job offer emails within 2 hours of a candidate's interview. I mean,
Right.
all the time. It happens all the time.
So one of
So
the other things, to talk to one of your earlier points, Foster and Catherine, is sometimes you can be the runner-up, or sometimes they can like you so much they want to create a new position.
Ah,
And that's a really good situation too. So again, interview with a company and interview for that position, but also if you really wow them and you
Mhm.
knock their socks off, they might hire you. I just had a situation happen, and I have two people that they liked so much that they found other positions for them.
Mhm.
So again, I mean, that's a really good situation, but know that there could be other possibilities. So don't just go in for that, but go in to really let them know how much you're interested in the company as well, just in case there might be other opportunities.
absolutely. A lot
Also
of us have
important to stay,
interviews.
oh,
Go ahead,
sorry,
Mark.
Pastor. Also important to stay in touch because sometimes something can happen to the individual that offered the position too. They end up taking another job. For
Mhm.
some reason they don't start the position. So it can make it easy to go to the silver medalist or second place person
Right.
for that position. So stay in touch so they don't forget you and let them know you continue to be interested.
Mhm.
Absolutely. A lot of us that are listening right now have been hiring managers. I guarantee you guys have. And some of you guys probably remember some of those interviews that you had that the person didn't do their homework. They don't even know much about the company, don't know you. They haven't done the research. How in the world are you going to convince me that you're interested in my company if you're interviewing with me and you can't tell me a little bit about the company? You can't tell me anything about why you're excited. Guys, file 13 is a big one and Catherine McCord has used it. I've seen it. And we don't want to be in file 13. We want to be remembered. We want to be able to develop a relationship where we might be able to talk about some of the things after the interview that weren't brought up in the interview, some of the things that might be connection points even further for us. So think about that, guys, as we're moving forward. It's tremendous that we do all of this connecting. We're just people. We don't hire people that we don't like. We don't hire people that we don't connect mentally with. It just does not happen. There are some people that have PhDs in what we do. And what's going to happen, guys, if we don't? Katherine, what are you going to do if you do not feel the connection there?
Oh, if I'm hiring for my company, if I don't get that connection, they're out. And the same thing for my clients, because I know what my clients are looking for. And so I know who's going to vibe with them and who's going to connect. And I will tell you guys, one of the biggest things you can do to help yourself be successful in that area, it's not that you have to be, this bright, bubbly, goofball all the time or anything like that. That's not what we're saying. But one of the best things that you could do is to align yourself with companies and to choose to apply to companies with whom you do agree and align and all that. So for instance, I love the Dallas Cowboys. I am a huge diehard, eat, live, and breathe it Dallas Cowboys fan.
I hope
Okay.
Trevor Houston's listening.
I know. I hope he is too. It's something he and I bonded over. So over a decade ago, I decided I was going to look for jobs associated with the Cowboys. And so I did. And I went in and I applied to work with the travel partner to the Dallas Cowboys, the official travel partner. I got the job. Why? Because I was super excited. I went and got a job when I was very young at the SPCA. I got the job. Why? Because I aligned with their mission and what they did, and my passions were right there. And it doesn't have to be that the company, is something that dramatic, but align with the charity work that they do, align with their origin story, align with something, find something that connects you to that company, and you will be far more successful in those interviews. Every candidate that I've told to do that, when they went in, started having over a 70% success rate with getting job offers once they started honing in on those kind of companies. Once they got to the interview process, they had us over 70% success rate in getting a job offer. That's huge, guys.
Huge.
So align yourself and then show that excitement, to Foster's point.
That's huge. That is. I want to talk about another connection that we can do using the LinkedIn tool that we have. Guys, LinkedIn is a tool. LinkedIn is not your network. LinkedIn is exactly what Katherine McCall is talking about, and Mary Leone and Mark Palmer are telling you guys about how to connect. So Mark and I have sat at desk, looked at each other before, and hunted a person for a certain position. So I want to suggest, guys, that yes, if we're on LinkedIn, and make sure, guys, that your email address is now, I know it's a functionality if we are a first level connection, but many times I look, because if I find you, if Mark finds you and determines, oh my goodness, I got to talk to this Mary Leone lady, I want to be able to get to Mary as quickly as I possibly can. I actually am excited. And if you're in a situation where there are multiple companies that you are competing with, and I'm sure Katherine has run into the situation before, you want to be the first one to deliver your client company that adequate talent that they're looking for. So if I'm going to shoot you an email, hey, Mary, there's a position that I want to talk to you about. This is the title. I'm trying to get in contact with you, Mary, as quickly as I can to talk about this position before somebody else calls you. So you know what, guys? The next thing that Mark Palmer and Foster are going to do is look for a phone number. We'll shot you an email. We may have shared a job posting with you, but you know what? If I see your phone number, I can call you. I might be able to grab you. You might actually answer your phone. I know that's a crazy thing these days, isn't it? Answering the phones right away. We're so busy. But guys,
but it's true. And
yeah,
Foster, real quick before you move from
go
LinkedIn,
jump in
I
there,
have
guys.
to
Go.
say this. I have to, because this is something that I've seen cost people some opportunities lately. So I want to stress this to this group. There are a lot of people that realize that when employers go through your LinkedIn, that they can see your post. What you may not realize is that they can see every comment that you make, every thing that you hearted, clapped for, everything. So guys, as you're going through your LinkedIn, I know LinkedIn's gotten a little bit more Facebooky lately. I understand that. It gets a little frustrating and all that. I understand that. Be real careful what you're saying. Okay. Because
Absolutely.
these guys can see it. And I have seen several instances in which candidates lost opportunities because they had commented something that the company didn't like, and for good reason. So be very, very careful, and also make sure that you are posting things that display you as an expert in what you do on LinkedIn,
Right.
even if not a lot of people are paying attention, because that way when employers go through, they see that, and they see that you are an expert and that you are excited about what you do, and it helps to showcase you really well.
That's right. That's right. So if I find this Mary Leone lady and I am able to get in contact with her, I can say, hey Mary, I've got this, my name's Foster Williams. I work for this company and I've got this position for my client company and I think it's great. Mary, I sent you an email. So when you get back home from the grocery store, or if you get back home from going to visit Allison in college, Allison is her daughter. She goes to the University of Arkansas. See, guys, that is a relationship.
Mhm.
I know that internal stuff about Mary and Mary's company and her family. That's a relationship, guys. Not
Mhm.
this I call you once or twice every,
Nope.
every quarter kind of thing. So, Mary, I've got this position. I want to be first on the list. I don't want you to talk to anybody else about this position. And here's why. Because I have a relationship with this company. This is how I've been working for this company forever. My buddy is the hiring manager of the company, whatever it is, guys. When a third party company has a relationship, you probably won't even have to ask a lot of questions. They will be more than glad to let you know that they have a special, if they have exclusivity on the position. Katherine, that's your word, exclusivity.
Exclusivity, that's right, gotta have it.
Exclusivity, yeah, what she said.
The E word.
The E
And
word.
we'll be more than glad to let you know because we're trying to be the one for you. We want you to work with us. So as quickly as we can get to you before Mark Palmer's company calls you about the same position, we want to establish that relationship. Mary, when you get on the computer, there's an email from me. Let's talk about this thing. I have established to the best of my capability to let Mary know that I have the relationship in which we can get some traction on this position if Mary gets as excited as I am about this position. That's always up to Mary, guys. There's a lot of things that will be run past us from recruiters, from various companies out there that PREY on us sometimes when we're in job search. It is always your decision. Always your decision. Don't be coerced into anything because, oh, I'm nervous because I got to have a job. Guys, take the time to figure out what you're plugging yourself into, who you're working with along the way that's helping you try to plug into these opportunities. It is very, very important, especially in today's world. And I don't have to explain today's world to you guys. You guys know where I'm coming from. Are you picking
And
up what I'm dropping?
reply
Go,
quickly.
Katherine.
Reply quickly. I mean, recruiters are watching that clock, guys. When they ask you to get something back from them, if they ask you to check out an email, something like that, they're watching that clock to see how interested you really are. So if you're going, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and go out and party with my girlfriends first, or I'm going to go play baseball with my kids first, which I mean, those are all great because you're trying to get a job here. So, and you want them to show enthusiasm too, right? So you need to show that. You need to step up too, and step up and go, hey, yeah, I checked out that email right away. Like as soon as I got home, I'm at the grocery store, I drive home, I put up all my groceries, bam, I'm on that computer, getting that email and pulling that up and checking that out. And have your email on your phone too while you're job searching. Even if you don't normally do that, be checking that email on your phone all the time.
All day long.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Panelists, we got a good question. Richard Leon, thank you so much. This is a really good question. A phone interview I had with the director went well last Tuesday. She says I should expect a call from a VP within a week, which is tomorrow. That week matures tomorrow. If I don't get a call or email tomorrow, when should I get to them?
I would say by the end of the day tomorrow.
Yes.
I would give them the week. If they give you, this is how long it's going to take. If they need some additional time, they'll just tell you, if they're needing another couple days, but I would get back to them if they don't get back to you by the date they said.
I always do the day after. So if the cutoff, like if they said by tomorrow, I'd go ahead and do it Wednesday, and like Wednesday morning, just go, and not like weirdly early, like 6 a.m. or something strange like that, but just like around 9 or 10 in the morning, go ahead and shoot an email. Hey guys, just super excited. Can't wait to hear from you, kind of a thing. Just show enthusiasm. Don't be thirsty. Guys, oh my gosh, you will kill your chances if you come across thirsty. Don't be that desperate person on a date. Don't be that crazy person that blows you up right after you had one date with them ever. Don't do that. It will cost you an opportunity. One follow-up then, and I don't know, guys, like Mark, would you say maybe follow up again one time, like 3 days after that or something like that, and then just drop it?
Definitely, yeah. If you don't hear back, follow up a second time for sure. Email, and then I would email a second time and give a phone call if I had the phone number. I would do that as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And there are times when something happens, like there'll be a death in the family or something will happen with somebody's children or something like that. But I would say don't be a nuisance. Don't do an everyday type thing, like you said, Katherine and Mark. You don't want to annoy them so much that they say, hey, this person's creepy.
And don't be rude. Don't be rude. I see candidates do that.
Don't be rude. Yeah.
You told me you would get back to me. Oh,
yeah.
You don't know what went on. Calm down just a little bit. And also, because I have a lot of people asking this, what happens when they ghost me? Then you got lucky and you didn't start for a jerk company. And I'm so sorry, guys, when that happens. On behalf of hiring professionals everywhere, I am horribly sorry for when that happens. But when that happens, say bye, see you later, and just keep on. You got lucky.
Yeah. David Mills up in New Hampshire. Good to see you with us, my friend. I knew there'd be a lot of Career Search Network people on the call. But David says, guys, what sort of comments on a LinkedIn post would be viewed negatively? Maybe it might be a comment that would cause a company to no longer consider you for that opportunity. What comes to mind, you guys?
I would say a couple of things.
Political.
First, go ahead. Yes, I would say political. And I would say anything really controversial where you're taking a very strong stance, or you're, I don't want to say belittling somebody, but you're putting somebody down.
Yeah, never put somebody down. And to her point, even if it's controversial, but it's work related, or just a hard stance on something, like just not moving, watch your language. Also, are you aligning with their goals? Like, for instance, if you're saying that you think that technology should go this direction, but they're trying to take technology that direction, then you're not the right fit for them. So you need to be really careful what you're saying. But a lot of the things that I personally witnessed were things that were hateful and ugly, and people that were being negative on diversity posts. And guys, that's a hot topic right now. Just don't.
And just don't even engage. If you have those thoughts, you can take it someplace else.
Yeah, just don't. You can just keep on scrolling. Just, you don't have to say anything. Just bloop, keep going. But yeah, just be careful, guys. And like, nothing political at all.
At all.
Not when you're job searching, and not when you have the job either. I've seen people get fired for that. Don't. And then, by the way, yes, your employer does have every right to fire you for political comments. It's most states in the United States are at will, they can fire you because they don't like your shirt. And then if you don't align with their politics, they have even more rights. So just don't do it.
Well, Katherine, I've got my University of Texas shirt on. Well, that won't get me fired.
That'll get you hired, buddy. Look 'em.
I love it. Ganesh, thank you for this question. Is it illegal to ask candidates' current salaries by the hiring manager, or the recruiter, or the person that is?
Depends on the state, actually. State by state.
A lot of recruiters get around that by asking for your expectations.
Yeah.
So what are you expecting in this type of role? Which is fine.
Yeah.
But again, you need to be very careful, because as Katherine mentioned, there's been some new rules that have been put in place by various states.
Yeah. Like, for instance, in California, it's illegal to ask. In other states, it's perfectly, like in Florida, nobody cares. So just know your state laws.
I knew that was going to be your answer.
Yeah, I do. In Florida, they don't even have payday law. It's insanity. You can pay people whenever you feel like it. It's cocoa. Yeah. It's nuts. So, but anyway, guys, yeah, just be careful because yeah, they can ask that. There's people ask illegal questions anyway. But yeah, but be really careful with that.
Leora Gill, good question. What if the role the recruiter sent me is a step or two above your previous job? Is that a situation where, yeah, I think I'll apply for that, or no, I think it's too much for me? What do you guys think about that? And also, while I am addressing you, Leora, please connect, and everybody that is listening, please connect with us on LinkedIn. Now, here's what you do. Make sure that you let us know that you met us, met us right here, that you were part of this wonderful, wonderful workshop, and then ask if we would connect, because we will connect with you. Let us know what's going on. And not just us, guys. Do that for just about everybody, or everybody you connect with. Don't hit the button. Okay, back to Leora's question. What if the role the recruiter sent me is a step or two above my previous job, guys?
If it's sent directly from a recruiter, I'd say talk to a recruiter about the position. Maybe that job description is the wish list of what they want, but they can hire some of lesser skills. Or you might find this recruiter that's just not skilled and it's the right person. I mean, that happens a lot. They just aren't skilled enough to see if it's a match or not. But I would say don't delete it, the email, contact the recruiter, speak about it, and it may be that you can be a fit after all.
When if it's with a smaller company, maybe it's a higher level title than what the actual position is doing. So I would look to see what it is and what the job responsibilities are. And if you have most of them, I would say still apply. And they found you. And so you can't hear a yes unless you apply. So you could also hear a no, but if you can't even be considered if you're not applying. So I would say go for it if it's something you're really interested in and you do meet several of the qualifications. Again, it could be a small company, so try.
Or a big one that has weird job titles. Like Bank of America calls everyone an AVP or a VP. Everyone.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So like just you know, it just go with it. But also, guys, make sure that your profile accurately reflects what you're doing. I recently had someone get very nasty with me because I emailed them about a level that was below them and they hadn't updated their LinkedIn. I'm like, how was I supposed to know that? You didn't update your LinkedIn. Don't get nasty. And I thought I told him, don't get nasty with me because you didn't update your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You know, so make sure that your LinkedIn accurately reflects what it is that you do now. But then yeah, shoot, go for it. If you think you can do the job, why not? Give it a shot. Who cares? They like Mary said and like Mark said, they reached out to you. Have a conversation.
Guys, this next question sort of reminds me of the state of being that we are right now in our communications with the technology that we have. Yvonne says, I recently received an email from a company's internal recruiter, and she took 2 days to reply. Now, when she replied, it was in a text message. So I responded right away, and the recruiter took another day to respond. So what do you guys think about our attitude towards the changes that we're seeing and the time that it takes for some of the internal people that are reaching out to us to respond and all of that? Because you know it's going to boil down to our attitude. But what are some of the input that you guys might have on? Let's start with Mark on that one.
So you mean in regard to the time frame of responding in?
It sounds like she was a little frustrated because the internal recruiter reached out to her and she responded, and the recruiter took quite a bit of time to respond. But when the recruiter did respond, she responded by text message. I bring that up because our generational thing, our transition into some of the new methodology of thinking now is not baby boomerish. It may not be what we experienced as a Gen Xer, something to think about.
Right. A few years ago, when somebody first responded by text, I was rather put off, just thinking it wasn't professional enough. But now I think it's pretty much an accepted form of communication. As far as the 2 days late reply, that's just a recruiter being busy, not able to get back quickly enough.
Right.
But I think the way that, 30 years ago, people finally started accepting email as a form of communication professionally. Texting message can be that way now. It's just a way to communicate.
100%. And first of all, as for the slowness, here's the honest answer. Some people are just slow in every position. I mean, seriously, some people are just slow. Some companies are just slow. Some people have such a workload, guys. Sometimes you don't realize how many jobs.
Oh my God, I know.
I literally spoke to an HR person recently who had 274 jobs that just she was responsible for.
What?
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy. Mary
It was
Leone and I both
horrible
work for
because
Verizon.
they
Think how
lost-
big Verizon is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They lost. What happened was they lost some people when they
Mhm.
furloughed for COVID, and so she was just drowning.
Right.
And so what happens was the jobs just piled up, and then even when the people came back, they were all just sitting there, and it's been horrible. So be kind of patient. It's frustrating, I know, but maybe be patient. Now, if you figure out that that's not it and they're just bad at their jobs, I mean, get through it if you're really that excited about the job. Otherwise, just tell them thanks, no thanks. It's just kind of your preference.
Uh-huh.
I would agree that in terms of the workload, but I would also say if they have that many, they may chunk their days. So this is when I'm going to respond. This is when I'm going to do this piece. This is when I'm going to do this piece. And so they're waiting for that cycle to come through again. So again, it may be that they're just too busy. I know I would be put off if I didn't hear. I responded immediately and I didn't hear back from, I would say, 3 to 5 days if they're really that slow, not necessarily 1 or 2 days. But think about it. Think about how much you want the position and if you're willing to I guess put up with some of those things.
Right.
Some are. We never know, guys. We never know what the day the person that we're talking to is going like. We should consider those things. Another number one thing, and you guys all know this, but it's good for Foster and Mary and Mark, Katherine to say it. Guys, when we are applying for jobs, is it about us or is it about the company?
Both.
Well, of course, but which one's
Both.
going to get the first? Which one's going to get the first and the most of the nod?
Not the company.
We are, guys.
It's about the company, how they can
Yes.
fill their need.
Yes, we are servants. Now, this is crazy. This is a Fosterism. Some of you guys will be able to do this. Some of you guys have done this. And some of you guys are like, huh? What are you talking about? So when you develop a relationship with that recruiter, if you get a Mary Leone, she's going to say, hey, maybe this is going on. Maybe that's going on. And I apologize. And you can tell from Mary's heart that she really, really means the apology that she's giving you. She got really, really busy. You know what? You guys are part of a huge, did I say huge? Okay. A huge network with all sorts of folks. So ask that recruiter, Mr. Recruiter. Now you probably won't, people don't take you up on it, but ask them if you can help. Is there something that I can do to help you along your? You got all the wheels on the bus are running over you. My God, is there kind of some kind of way I can flatten one of those tires or stop that bus or something? Is there something I can do? You know what? That recruiter will remember that. The next engagement you have with that recruiter, also give of yourself, at least ask. That will set a precedent with that recruiter, one in which that recruiter probably will remember you because most job seekers are not thinking of it that way. Most job seekers, guys, number one, we overthink our job search, guys. We forget and we get moving along and we're mad at the recruiter because the recruiter hadn't done it. We haven't even considered what that recruiter is going through. Come on, son. And so that's something we need to think about, but be that person that is willing to help. If they ask you, great, because you get an opportunity to get involved and you get an opportunity to build a relationship even more. Katherine and I talked about that on one of the career launch lives with Anna Morgan. You remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Anna Morgan, the career BFF. So guys, these are things that we need to think about as we're going forward. Guys, also, please keep up with who you're talking to. You might want to put it into an Excel spreadsheet. Some of you guys might want to get a number 2 pencil and put it down and say, hey, today I talked to IBM. I talked to this person and it was about that. guys, because sometimes, a lot of times, when these companies are so busy and they come back to us 2 months later because they haven't filled that job, you think they
Mhm.
might want to, yeah, go, Catherine. You think they might want to know that we are still excited about that opportunity enough to where we even remember what we were talking about? Go, Cat.
You know what? So whenever somebody comes back, sorry, I was typing an answer to a question that was on the feed. Whenever somebody is, what happens as a company goes longer and longer without a position is that they lighten up on requirements and things like
Uh-huh.
that, and they kind of circle back. So always, as you're looking out, and if I missed part of what you were saying, Foster, I'm sorry. Like I said, I was typing an answer to someone. Um, as as you're waiting for people to get back to you, just so I'm sorry, my brain just stopped. It did. It just went. Nope.
You were
I'm not.
multitasking, Catherine. You were multitasking. We were talking about our connectivity and how we offer to help people
Yes. That's
outside the
okay.
box is something you weren't even thinking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is, as people are, as these things happen, like Foster said, always earlier in the presentation, always offer to help them. Say, hey, what open roles you have, what referrals can I make for you, that kind of thing. But also with a company, one thing that a lot of people don't think about is reach out and go, hey, notice, let's say, for instance, you are a website developer and you're looking at a company position and they tell you in the interview that this X problem was going on with the website, and you get on there and you realize it's still going on. Reach out and give them some little tip or some
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
idea or something like that to remind them that you're an expert, and then to impress them by going, hey, I care enough to just help you out. Like, that's how awesome I am, that I'm just willing to help you out. The other thing too is that job requirements do change. Like I was saying, the longer that a job is open, job requirements do change.
Yes. Yes.
So be flexible, keep an eye out. If you haven't heard back, maybe kind of circle back and go, hey, did something change? Because sometimes that happens. My clients do that to me all the time, and it makes me bonkers. It makes me insane, but it happens all the time. So just be flexible. Just be flexible, guys, and reach out with little tidbits and little tips.
Absolutely. Laura Chang, I want to thank you because Laura asked, okay, what was the one thing the most, when we first started at the top of this, Laura, our answer was a relationship. That word was what our whole conversation has been kind of around, bits and pieces, components of that relationship, how we apply those things going on along the way to develop a relationship with the person that's responsible. And now I'm going to tell you on the both sides of this deal. You develop a relationship with Katherine McCord, and she's a recruiter, she's a hiring manager. It's a good thing because, yeah, she might be able to talk that hiring manager into giving you a shot. But Katherine, you have a relationship with Katherine. She can
Right.
tell you, and she will definitely be happy to take the time to explain to you why you are not a fit for that position. So you
Well,
have to
and
continue to
yeah.
raise that. Yeah.
And Foster, what I want to add is make sure that you're appreciative, even if you didn't get the position, even if you're the silver
Yes.
medalist. And then for the people that you network with at the company to try and get some inside information or to understand a little bit more about the role, make sure that you're appreciative for them and let them know the process that you've gone through, where you are, or if you didn't get the job, but that you're also very appreciative. And show them some love because they took some time out of their schedule and they wanted to see you successful. They wanted to help you. So make sure that you show that appreciation so that in case there's something else, they'll have that positive thought. They'll remember, hey, the last time Mary contacted me, I know she was really appreciative. And if you can, show some love in the future as well, in terms of sharing something or making an introduction to somebody else that might help them in their networking, that's also appreciated because again, that keeps you top of mind.
100%.
Okay, real
100%.
quickly
That I
before,
recently just, by the way, to your point, Mary, I recently just circled back to a candidate and got them a job who did that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to your
Good
point,
strategy. Yeah.
yep. Oh, and then one thing too that a candidate of mine did a while back, and I just thought this was genius, and it landed him so many interviews, was he sent e-cards like just those pretty animated, lovely e-cards to just a few places that he wanted to interview with. And I think one of them was actually a follow-up to a call that he'd had with them. And it was like Happy Easter or whatever holiday it was at the time. And at the bottom, it just said, your candidate hopeful with his name. And these people went and looked him up and called him and gave him an interview because he sent them this beautiful e-card, and they just really appreciated it.
We're just
So
people. We connect. Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing before Pam cuts us off, guys, we got one more question that we want to quickly throw some information out about. What do you guys think about cover letters? Ganesh is getting some conflicting information. Not everybody likes cover letters. Some people like cover letters. So what is best? What are some of the things that I need to think about when I'm trying to figure out whether I should use a cover letter for my specific search or not?
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I'm one of the recruiters that does not read cover letters, with the exception of if somebody's out of state, no statement about why they want to move into the state, or if there's a salary discrepancy or title discrepancy to cover that topic. If there's not something specific to cover like that, I might only read 3 cover letters a year is about it. And I don't get many of them, but to me, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
I just want to see a targeted resume. Also, don't make it so fancy that you can't find the experience that you're looking for that matches the job description. It drives me nuts. I filled a couple of positions recently where it's a fancy, just one page, real abbreviated, and I couldn't find anything. And so I had to ask the candidate if I was interested. I had to ask the candidate a bunch of questions. That takes more time. So again, make it easy for somebody like me to look at the resume and say, oh, well, you've got the top 5 things. I want to talk to you. So make it easy for us. Because again, if we're looking at 300 resumes, that's a lot.
100%, Mary, 100%. And then the other side of that is, guys, Mark's 100% right too. Most recruiters and HR people do not ever read your cover letter. At most, they skim it just to make sure that you know how to coherently form a sentence. 2 things on that. Number one, if you're going to do something like that, why not send a personal email or a LinkedIn message? Far more effective. You're a lot more likely to actually get a response and to get engagement. And then the other side of that is, when you do send a communication, make sure that it doesn't read like a form letter. Make sure that you show excitement and energy and basically it's like your sales pitch, right? So if it doesn't read like, oh my gosh, I would totally hire this person.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Not worth it.
And keep it very short and always put your phone number at the bottom.
And that.
That's a good point there.
Easy to contact always.
How to contact me.
Something that you might want to think about. As a offshoot of the Who You Know Job Networking show, Trevor Houston teaches people how to put together videos. Thank you, videos.
And they're fantastic.
Yes, see there?
Great.
Maybe you can explain yourself a little bit on a quick video. We are fast. We don't have enough. You heard Katherine say we don't have time. Oh my God, we don't. 24 hours is not enough time in a day. God, we need 8 more hours.
We do.
So you know what? Make it easy. I think personally that video gives me a little feel for who Mary is and how she projects herself. Because as a recruiter, I'm going to have to introduce the idea of a hiring manager talking to Mary. So what am I setting this hiring manager up for? Guys, we are intermediary people. We recruiters. We talk to the hiring managers. They say, I want this and I want that. Oh my God, I want to see. And then we go and we find them and we ask silly questions. If you're like Katherine McCord and I, we will develop a relationship with you so we can extract the information from you that we need to get, because I'm going to have to go to a Mary Leone and explain, Mary, here is Katherine McCord, and here is what you told me you're looking for, and here is why I think you should take time out of your day to talk to Katherine. And then Katherine, you better make me look good, girl.
I would all day, every day.
And on that note, as much as I hate, we are already after the top of the hour, and y'all could keep on talking, and I think we
Yes.
keep most of our attendees for all the time, but I have work to do here. I've got to launch our survey afterward.
No
Thanks
worries.
to everybody that was here for the panel. Thank you, everybody all you job seekers who have been with us, some of us since 10 o'clock this morning Eastern time, and there were one or two from the West Coast that came in at that hour. So
Right.
it has
I know
been quite
one.
the day. I understand we did 34 resume reviews. We had a cutoff at 30, but we were able to squeeze 4 more in because of one of our reviewers took on 10 to get back to this week. So we appreciate everyone involved. Please, you've heard it all day. If you've been with us, give us your feedback on the survey. Just let us know, how was it? Was it relevant? And what's your job status? Because we're actually going to share this with other people to let them know, well, look, we had people who were currently employed, for example, which is starting to trend more. We're seeing about twice as many currently employed at our events, because either they're employed, but they didn't land where they really want to be, maybe, or they just want to keep their skills fresh, because I don't think anybody's taking anything for granted anymore, right? So, all right. Thanks to everybody. Panel, y'all were fabulous. I want to do it again.